What is this noise I'm hearing? Hello. Are you enjoying yourself? Oh, yeah. Nice morning sun on your belly. Huh? That mat that he's on, that was a fleet find. Hi everybody. First, let me thank everybody for all the comments on my last video. You know, the one about the bonkers lady over there. Some pretty funny stuff in there. Today I want to talk about solar power and how much solar power do you need to have on your ambulance conversion to live a comfortable life. Now there's a lot of mathematical calculators and all kinds of information out there that help you to decide how much power, you know, as far as amp hours in your batteries, how many watts of panels you need. You can get really deep down a rabbit hole of trying to figure all that stuff out. When I designed the equipment for my truck, I wasn't, you know, really in tune with all of that mathematically. I just kind of looked at examples of what other people had been doing and what they had in their rigs, and that's how I came to my decision of what I put in. Now, one thing I did that was a little bit out of the ordinary is I put over 1,100 watts of panels up on the roof. I have 1,140 watts of panels in total up top, charging my 300 amp hour battery bank. Now, if you talk to a purist, that's way more panel than I need to charge up that battery bank. And I don't disagree with that. The reason I did that was so that I had future-proofed. So in the future, if I was going to add more batteries, larger battery bank, that I would already have the panels in place. I didn't want to, you know, go back and do it all over again. Since I've been on the road, I'm coming up on 2 years. This July, it'll be 2 years that I've been on the road. I have come to find that having the extra wattage up on the roof, it helps me in some ways that were unexpected. Now, there's a lot of you out there. The fleet is getting bigger and bigger every day. In the last 3 days, I've gotten 5 messages from people. The message starts out, I just bought an ambulance, and they tell me what it is, and I get those messages all the time. So the fleet is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every day. There's a lot of people out there in their ambulances. There's a lot of people that are setting up an ambulance, that are building it. So you need to figure out what kind of solar, what kind of battery you're going to install. And it all starts with, what are you going to be running? The more devices, refrigerator, television, laptop, phones, lights, all of those things add up and kind of dictate how much power you're going to need. I'm not an expert at this, believe me. I'm going on what I've learned through my own experience in almost 2 years of using my solar system, plus conversations with a lot of people, getting my eyes on a lot of different rigs that have a lot of different kinds of systems in them. I'm going to give you feedback based on what I have in my truck, and hopefully the information that I share is going to help you design your system and maybe make some decisions. Let me really quick review what my system is, the specs of my system. If you've been a viewer of the channel, you probably already know this stuff, but let me just go over it real quick. I have 3 100 amp hour gel batteries, Renogy gel batteries. So I have 300 amp hours of batteries that power just the house. Now, I'm not talking at all about my cranking batteries. I have 2 cranking batteries that handle the front end of the vehicle, starting the engine. That's all they do. My 300 amp hour batteries for the house, all they do is power my life back here. In addition to that, I have 1,140 watts of solar. It's a strange number, but I put 6 190 watt panels on the roof. They're Rich Solar panels. Now I see that Rich Solar is no longer selling the 190 watt panel. They've changed to a 200 watt panel. The panels have performed very well for me. I recommend Rich Solar. The fact that 3 of them blew off of the truck, see an early video, is not their fault at all. It was my fault. So 1140 watts of panels, 3 100 amp hour batteries, and then my solar charge controller is a 100 amp EP Ever charge controller. Now what am I powering off of my battery system? I have a freezer, I also have a refrigerator, I have a Wii Boost, and those 3 items run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're wired in, hardwired, 12 volt, and they run all the time. In addition to those 3 things, items that I use off and on, I turn on my inverter to plug in my laptop and charge it to watch TV. But the big hitters in my power usage are going to be the coffee maker, the air fryer, and the microwave. Those are the really big hitters. My air fryer pulls 1,000 watts. When I turn that on, my inverter shows a 33% load. I have a 3,000 watt inverter, so it's pulling 1,000 watts. 1,000 watts powered from a 300 amp hour battery bank, those batteries aren't going to last very long. They're going to nosedive as soon as you turn that on. And that's where my big solar panel array comes into play. So I want to give you an example here of what a large solar panel array can do for you. I just started my 1,000 watt air fryer, and the panels jumped up and are pushing 60 amps. So what the panels are doing right now is, for the most part, they're running that air fryer. Now my batteries were at 100%. They just changed to 99.8. And I know, because I've done this a bunch of times, I'm gonna run the air fryer for 25 minutes. I'm gonna cook French fries, and then I'm gonna cook a steak, and my batteries will probably be at 98% when it's all done. For the most part, that air fryer is running off of the solar panels. The charge controller jumps up as soon as I put the load on it. I mean, it was at about 8 amps, keeping the batteries at 14.4 and at 100%. It was just about getting ready to go into float. And now it's, you can see it's 62 amps now, so it jumps up. It starts pushing power based on the load, depending on how long I run it, how thick the steak is, how many French fries I'm cooking. But the batteries will typically drop down somewhere between 2 and 3% after it's all said and done, after 25 or 30 minutes of running a 1,000 watt air fryer. So there, the panels are pulling 935 watts. You just saw that. I've seen it go 1.12 kilowatts. I think that's what it is. So I've seen it go up to 1,120 watts. On a super sunny day, sun right overhead, there's 996 watts. Speaking of, and I picked up the Monterey rub there, and I rubbed that on. What I'll do when I'm cooking fries and a steak, I cook the fries first, but not all the way, and then I'll take them out, cover them in foil. I put the steak in, I cook the steak all the way, then I take the steak out, and while the steak rests, I put the fries back in for 5 minutes and finish them up, and then I've got a rested steak and hot fries at the same time. Okay, well, you can see I have a completed ribeye and fries. Everything just finished up, and I'm at 98.7% on the batteries. So they used 1.3%. They're at 14.4 charging, back to 100, and then they'll go into float here in a while. Okay, here we are 5 minutes later, and the batteries, I don't know if you can see that, but my batteries are back at 100%. I've got the TV running, the inverter on, so I'm at 14.2, pushing almost 20 amps. This will go into float here at some point. So it's still in bulk mode right now, but what I wanted to highlight was that within 5 minutes of finishing cooking, I was back up to 100% on the batteries. So you can see from those clips that for 25 minutes, I ran my air fryer, cooked French fries and a steak, and my batteries were 98.6% when they were done, and then they were back up to 100% within 5 minutes. So that is the benefit of having the big array on top. You can run things right from the solar panels. Another electrical item, AC item that I forgot to mention was my air conditioner. Now my air conditioner, it doesn't really pull a lot of wattage. It pulls 440 watts when it's running. My Shark hand vacuum cleaner actually pulls like 450 watts. So the air conditioner is using less wattage than my vacuum cleaner. I can run my air conditioner. Now I'm talking about a sunny day. I have sun on the solar panels. I can run the air conditioner and my batteries will stay at 100%. My panels can put out that 440 watts with headroom enough to keep the batteries at their 100% state of charge. I mentioned it in a few videos ago that I turned on the air conditioner, within the last couple of weeks, got hot, really hot one day and uncomfortable, and I turned it on for about 3.5 hours, and the batteries were, I think it was like 99.8% when I was done. And that was only because it got into the 4:35 p.m. and the sun was starting to, this time of year, the shadows were getting long and the sun angle was starting to, When we arrived down in the Courtside area this past fall, it was October, and there was a week-long period where it was in the 90s, and I ran the air conditioner every day, in the afternoon. The solar panels can run the air conditioner. The solar panels can run the air fryer. The solar panels can contribute greatly to running the microwave. Now the microwave, the good thing about that is it's only on for 90 seconds or 3 minutes. It's using some battery power because the panels don't have enough to power the entire microwave, but they contribute greatly to it so that the batteries don't take a nosedive. Now having the 1140 watts up on the roof, another real benefit of that is I can get my batteries fully charged even on hazy, overcast days. Now that might not seem possible, but even if the sun is, if the clouds aren't super thick and it's a cloudy day, I'll still get 100% charge because there's so much power coming in through those panels that they'll get the batteries back up to 100%. Having that much power, it allows me to relax a little bit. I'm not constantly looking at my battery bank to make sure I have enough power. I'm not saying that I can totally ignore my system, but it gives me a lot of flexibility, and I'm able to relax and not worry about it all the time. I've mentioned it in a couple of videos. I actually also charge my cranking batteries from the solar system. I have that switch on my seat, and as soon as I engage that switch, it connects my two systems together. So if I'm charging my house system from the solar panels and I engage that switch, now I'm charging my house system and my cranking batteries. That's just a little feature that I like. In the middle of the winter, after not running the truck for 7 or 10 days, cold mornings, and I got to go somewhere, I would turn that on every few days for an hour just to keep the batteries nice and strong. And I would do it on the day that I was going to head out in the morning, and I get nice fast crank. So that's a nice little feature to have. What would I recommend? Would I recommend that you put an insane amount of panels on your roof? Like I said, I'm not an expert. I just know that the performance that I get from those panels allows me to run some high wattage electrical devices without killing my batteries. And it's for that reason that I would say, yes, I would recommend putting a lot of panels up on the roof. Obviously, they cost money. Going back to what I said earlier, how many panels do you need? If you look at some of the pre-made kits like that Renogy sells, you get a 400 watt kit, comes with this battery, this charge controller, these panels. you know, that's a great place to start, is getting one of those kits. That way you don't have to pick and choose the equipment yourself. There's some of you that have copied my system. I'm super happy that I'm able to share what I do and my experience to help a lot of you. And all of you that keep messaging me with your ambulance builds and all that, I really do my best to answer all your emails and all your direct messages. Sometimes it might take me a day or two because I'm traveling or I'm busy doing something, but keep sending me those messages. I like to help as much as I can. Make sure you're following our Instagram too. I post pictures pretty much daily on there. A lot of Lefty pictures, hiking pictures, a lot of really nice stuff that we see every day. I love to post those photos up there. So follow our Instagram if you're not. All of you that have sent support, thank you so much. Lefty! That's Lefty's fleet find for today. He came across that on our walk. Tag still on it and everything. Bring it! Oh! Oh, you gonna kill it? Huh? Give me that. You better bring it here. No, give it. What? Focus. All right, let's see if we get it. Hi, everybody. Today I want to talk about So real quick, let me just review. Don't knock over the tripod.